Welcome back to Pach-Attack. I cannot tell you how excited Kyle is that we're finally back. He's excited. He's over there, he's shuddering like a leaf. Welcome back. From the forums, great name here, PA101902. I have no freaking clue what that means, but that's a good one. Mr. Pachter, with the announcement of PlayStation Now, I'm so glad that we got a PlayStation Now question. Do you think, probably think, do you think Sony is setting itself up to get away from the hardware end of the business and become just an all-encompassing streaming service like Netflix? No. I mean, I think that maybe they're setting themselves up to do that, but I don't think that it matters. PlayStation Now isn't going to work. PlayStation Now is only going to do as well as the content that they can line up for PlayStation Now. And as a practical matter, the publishers really only have one shot at making revenue right now, which is to put a game out on disc at retail and hope that in 3 to 6 months they sell, 50 or 80% of lifetime units, and then they get some modest catalog sales for a year or two, and then that's it. And with the exception of a couple of Nintendo titles, pretty much Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, most games are done selling after 2 years. The real other exception is any Grand Theft Auto. They just kind of keep selling, but partly that's scarcity value. They come out every 5 years or something now, and so, of course, I guess 6 years since, 5 years since the last one. I think GTA 4 probably sold very well in years 3, 4, and 5, but Call of Duty from 3 years ago, nobody's buying it. Certainly no sports games, and maybe Battlefield 3 got a little boost when Battlefield 4 came out, but very little. But the publishers don't want to cannibalize that stream for the first 2 years, so pretty much you can count on PlayStation Now not getting anything that came out within the prior 2 years, except for Sony first-party content. They might, at launch, have a few PS3 games because, again, the PS3 is not as relevant to the publishers as the PS4. So you might have a couple, maybe, that came out in 2012, but I doubt you'll see anything that came out in 2013 on PlayStation Now unless Sony made it. They can do whatever they want with their own IP. If that's the case, if it's all 2-year-old games, ask yourself why sales of discs for 2-year-old games are so low. And the answer is because nobody cares anymore. They don't want to play those games. And honestly, some of the best games ever are 2 and 3 and 4 years old. Red Dead Redemption is going on 4 years old. Doesn't make it any worse a game now. But the truth is, people who wanted to play it, played it. And if they wanted to buy it 2 years later, they paid 20 bucks and played it. And I don't think that very many people are willing to sign up for a subscription service to only get Sony games and then maybe get the occasional third-party game that came out 2 or more years ago. You don't want to play, the original Crash Bandicoot. You're not going to pay a subscription to play that. Or, Jak and Daxter 1. You're just not going to pay a subscription to play that. So I don't see that. I don't see the pay-as-you-go model, rent the game, because I don't think they can charge little enough to get you to do it. If it's $2 for a 2-year-old game, hey, guess what? For $2 you can go to Redbox and get yesterday's game for the day. So why would you pay $2 for a session for a 2-year-old game? And if it's any less than that, I don't think that Sony will make enough money to be able to afford to pay the publishers. Typically, the publishers would look for 70% of revenue in exchange for providing their content to that kind of a service. That's about exactly what Netflix pays for streaming, by the way. And that's exactly what Apple pays for iTunes for music and movies. So I don't see Sony being able to charge enough to make enough money to induce the publishers to put better content on. I don't see consumers paying enough. So I think PlayStation Now is going to be just like the PSP Go. Do you remember that? Yeah, exactly. Go Sony. Poor Sony. I have to start beating up on Sony, by the way, Kyle, because I've been so mean to poor Nintendo because they suck so bad, and I've actually been pointing it out. So now I have to point out when Sony sucks because I'm being accused of playing favorites. From the forum, from Kevin Clark. You know Kevin Clark? I think I know Kevin Clark. Hey, Pac, when the PS2 and PS3 launched, they sold on eBay for thousands of dollars each at some points. I was only able to sell my PS4s, plural, for maybe $100 more than the retail price. So this guy's a fence? What is he? Were they stolen? He's a scalper? I hate him. What gives? Is it the economy? What happened to my profit deal? Yeah, well, you know, there's a term you lose. There's a term you learn in your first course in economics, and I guess that would be your first freshman year in college, Economics 101. And it tells you that price is set at the point where supply and demand are in equilibrium. So when you have the same number of buyers as you have units of the PS4, that's where you'll have the clearing price. If you have more buyers than units, so higher demand than supply, the price goes up, and that's where you get the thousands of dollars on eBay. And when you have more supply than you have demand, then the price goes at the retail price. It's not going to go any higher. So the answer to your question is that although there was tremendous demand, there was actually pretty ample supply. The PS3 launched with 1.1 million units sold the first 6 weeks. The PS4, 4.2 million, so almost 4 times as many. And I don't remember the quantity on the PS2, but it was around 1 million. It wasn't tens of millions or anything, it was like 1 million. I think that Sony learned the lesson from the last 2, and I was real surprised at the 4.2, but they clearly anticipated that much demand. Thing was still pretty much sold out, and the reason you only got a $100 premium, it wasn't sold out every single day, especially that week before Christmas. But right now, it's in supply. It's still selling out, but you know, GameStop yesterday got some supply and they put a press release out that we got more PS4s. They wouldn't put a press release out unless there was a lot of demand, so they're still satisfying it. Supply and demand are very close to being in equilibrium, and that's why the price is not higher on eBay. We have a question from Twitter from @ChakalStar. What are your thoughts on the rumor that there will be a new version of the Xbox One? Just another SKU? It's a certainty there'll be another SKU. They're gonna update the thing frequently. I lost track of how many Xbox 360s there were, I think 7, and I believe 9 PS3s. We can go back and check, but it's something like that. Every chance they get to put a much bigger hard drive in, they'll take it. They might as well. I mean, the early adopters have to suck it up and deal with 500 gigabytes, but if they can give you 2 terabytes for the same money, then why not? So I expect that that'll happen, and I think that most of the changes to the box are going to actually be software updates. So, you know, box as a DVR to record a TV show, there's no reason you can't do that now with the right software. So I don't know that we're going to need to replace the box and update it. If there's a way to make it, you know, cheaper, if there's a way to make it run cooler, use less power, you know, so make the whole chipset different, they'll do it. You know, so if AMD comes up with a better design on the chip and you end up, you know, saving 10 bucks a chip, then they'll put that into the new one, I'm sure. And if they can make the box, you know, thinner, lighter, cuter, smaller, of course they'll do that too. But I think you're talking just the other SKUs. I think the big potential change is to unbundle Kinect. And if they unbundle Kinect, you know, I'm not sure that that necessarily means a different Xbox One. I think that means an Xbox One without the camera and microphone array in the box. If you think through what Kinect does and what it's necessary for, it's necessary if you want to play a Kinect-enabled game, and there really are none that make any sense except Dance Central on the Xbox 360 and Kinect Sports. I mean, really, the rest of them are not that fun, and I don't think very many people really bought them or cared. If you choose to use Skype, you need Kinect. Obviously, you need something to hear your voice. But the truth is, you can use Skype on your phone, so why do you need to use it on your TV? I mean, it's nice, it really is. It's really a, you know, wide-angle lens, very clear, the microphone works really well. The features like, you know, Xbox Pause, I have to say that's the one I use all the time. That's a great feature. And the thing is, if your Xbox is connected to your phone, I can always bring up my Xbox app on my phone, which I don't think they have yet, but there will be one, and hit the pause button when I'm done and it will stop. So you can replace Kinect with any smart glass. I think the reason to eliminate Kinect is that, and this is my opinion, Microsoft will not acknowledge this, Kinect adds $100 of cost to the Xbox One. And Microsoft will tell you, no, we're charging $500 because the value proposition is $100 greater than the PS4. But as of today, the PS4 is kicking Microsoft's butt. I saw a very clever post on Twitter, and I don't remember who it was, like Jeff Gerstmann or something, and he goes, it's the top of the first inning, and Sony leads Microsoft 4-3. So I thought that was pretty funny, at 4 million versus 3 million, but the game just started. Microsoft isn't going to make a comeback and pass Sony unless they cut the price. And the real problem Microsoft has is if they wait until the cost of the box with Kinect is low enough to go to 400, then obviously Sony can cut the PS4 to 300, and they probably will. Microsoft needs to get rid of Kinect and get the price down to 400 now, and they need to stay similarly priced to Sony, or Sony's going to beat them. And I think Microsoft cares enough that they'll probably consider a price cut, and the only way they can do a price cut is to unbundle Kinect. So that I think may happen. I would not expect that in the first half of 2014. Thanks for joining us on this week's Pach-Attack. If you have a question, please submit it to the link below, or if you'd like to submit a question to me on Twitter, address it to @MichaelPachter. If you'd like it on the show, add the hashtag AskPach, and we'll try to get to as many of those on the next round of Pach-Attacks as we can. And I have to say, like, I've been watching Netflix on the Xbox One, and when I first tried, like, I was trying to get I was doing Xbox on. My wife threw away the manual. Okay, so my Xbox showed up. I was in New York, and my wife calls me and she goes, "Your Xbox showed up," and I said, "Yeah, I have the home installer guys coming. I brought the PS4 home as well." And I go, "The PS4 is in that closet. The Xbox over there." And I wanted him to hook everything up, get rid of the old ones, and wire it properly through the wall. So I can show you when we go downstairs. It's all hidden. And I said, "Yeah, he's coming on Friday, and I'll be home Friday night." And I come home, everything's perfect. Boxes are all hooked up. Everything's connected. It all works. No boxes. So I say to my wife, "Where are the boxes?" "Oh, I threw them away." And I go, "Where are the little cords that you plug your controller into?" "What cords?" You know, because they're like under the styrofoam, and you know, wrapped in plastic or whatever. Threw them away. And I go, "Where's like the little owner's manual?" "What owner's manual?" "Threw them away." So we don't have owner's manuals, right? So I just learned after, you know, how many months have I had a PS4 now? Like 2. I just learned how to turn it on with my hand. I could not find a button. I didn't know there was a stripe. I didn't get it. Well, I didn't know why. I would never, it's not intuitive to rub a stripe. Like, I didn't know that. And I was looking at it, I'm looking like where it says PS4 is this kind of like indented plastic. Where the Xbox, you know, where there's a little white X, it's kind of obvious you touch that, it'll start. But I'm looking at the PS4, and I'm reaching around the back, and I cannot find a switch anywhere. I know. Obviously, you plug in the controller and you press the controller, but I had to charge the controllers, and fortunately, I have a bunch of these mini USB cords. Yeah, but you know, so I charged my controllers. They weren't charged, and I knew I could turn the controller on. It would turn the box on, and I didn't know how to turn it off with the controller. But I'm like, there's got to be a way to. I just learned this. I literally went online and figured it out. So that's that. No manual. So I'm like, how do I hook up voice command on Xbox? So I'm going Xbox on, nothing. So nothing, right? So my wife's going, "What are you doing?" And I go, "Well, this Kinect thing's supposed to work, but I don't know how to work it." So we're watching a Netflix thing, and I said to my wife, "Yeah, you know, if I can ever figure out how to do the voice command, all I have to do is say Xbox pause, and it'll stop." And it paused. And I'm like, fuck. So I said to my wife, say Xbox play. You know, go, say Xbox. She goes, different voice, Xbox play. And it starts again. It decided to listen to us. I still don't know how to set it up. You know, and I mean, I know there's like, I know, but it works. It totally recognizes our voices. It's cracking me up. And we, you know, we're like fast forward, and then it says go faster, and you go faster, and it does. It's pretty cool, actually. So I like it if you're like the total lazy man and you can't be bothered to like pick up the controller and, you know, press the A button or whatever, the A button, yeah, whatever it is, whatever the bottom one is. It's funny when they say press the X button or the Y button or the A or the B. I don't know what any of them are because you just know where to press.
And they're different on Nintendo and Xbox.
A's on the bottom, right? Now I can't remember.
Yeah, well, A's on the bottom for Xbox.
Yeah,
It's on the right for if you're playing Wii.
Nintendo,
So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I can't remember A and X except that except I know which one to hit. I just never. Yeah, Nintendo you always know because the B button is to jump or whatever, so you kind of know what to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, cheaper SKU. Okay, that was my anecdote. You got my volume working? Good.